So finally, you arrive in Gold Hills. And approaching the town, you can see that it is small but dense. There are many people that have fit themselves into a very small space for living and residences. Everything surrounding is farmland for as far as you can see. For miles on your approach to the city was farm after farm after farm. For especially for the southwestern region, this is a huge food and resource kind of town. There are where Hearthmount was a city of business and industry, this is a city of simple craftsmen, farmers, fishermen, things like that. People who work the land or work the sea or work the earth, mining or work every single day to make their own living. And continuing through the town, you eventually arrive at Dell's farm.
And this is the
He's got about 5 acres of land. He has a few fields of wheat and corn growing. There are small pastures with scattered goats and cows around his property. You see Dell and his wife Bernadette are standing near one of the farmhouses, currently just filling a trough.
okay.
I would like to approach them, producing the contract and asking them if they're the ones that need the help.
So who's asking who?
Now,
I think Wainwright
really,
went
I wanted
really
to.
quick, really hold on, really
Oh.
quick. But as we're walking through this farmland, I want to kind of drift back, match pace with Knox, and ask him. So, was the contract similar for you? Were you to investigate this farmland for any sort of occurrences?
Was I, Wilson? I didn't get anything.
Yep, the contract you had looked exactly the same as this one.
Let me see the contract.
I present the contract to him, the one that we had received from Jace.
I grab it and just peruse it a little bit and just give him a nod and looks the same.
Well, if this was the same for you, then chances are the same contract was presented the first. And if your halfling ally was worth anything as far as information was concerned,
I give a spit on the ground again.
then we might need to be on our toes in this farmland area. So be wary.
Agreed. I give him a nod and I just continue.
So like I said, who's asking who?
I was producing the contract document, I guess, to both of them, whichever one wants to speak up first.
So the woman is the one who sees you first. You see that both of them are in the later stages of their life. The woman is large, a very voluminous build on her. She's got a nice, kind face and strong accent on her. So she's the one that sees you approaching first and says, "Who are you?"
My name is Wainwright. Me and my party were hired to investigate certain violent happenings on this farm.
Wait, were we actually having the...
And she looks confused already at what you're saying, and she turns and pulls on the sleeve of her, presumably her husband. And the person who turns around, you can see, is probably in his late 50s and his 60s. He's tall, very lean, large white beard. He's got a straw hat and linen shirt, very simple clothing. And you can see that he's got a corncob pipe in his mouth that he almost never takes his hand off of. And she says to him, the Wainwright, the happenings. And he looks between you and her and takes the piece of paper from your hand and kind of looks at it and squints, and from a pocket takes out a broken pair of glasses that are very smudged and puts them on his eyes and squints.
Yeah, looks like what I requested. What'd you say your name was?
My name is Wainwright from House Bruceman.
I,
These are my
Alright, what-
compatriots, and I motion to the others in the group.
I give a slight.
It's nice to finally
slight
see
bow.
somebody doing something about this. Put the request in almost a month ago.
I take a step forward. Sir, have you happened to had any other people inquiring about this contract?
No, you're the first. Like I said, been about a month since I put in the request. Haven't heard word one from them since. I thought the Swiftfoots were getting results.
I turn to Knox and I say, I believe you might have been misinformed, sir.
Due to my contract, are you talking about?
No, I'm afraid that it seems like your halfling compatriot might not have been as honest as he was. He said that the first group that went to fulfill the contract was disposed of, I believe his words were.
I think he said it was before they got there.
The halfling said that the second group met the first group, and the first group told them that the job was a no-go, that the people at the farm were dead, and sent them back on their way to go back to Hearthmount.
Like you're misinformed about the current situation.
That lying sack.
You got more spit for the ground?
I just kind of give like a little, I kick the ground a bit.
And you can see that Dell is fiddling with his pipe, refilling it with tobacco, and just looking at you guys intently, waiting for some kind of reaction to the contract.
Can I approach Dell? I'd like to approach Dell.
Everyone's approaching, but the approach.
Okay. And how close are you getting to him?
Just up to like, is he packing his pipe at all?
Yeah, he's packed it very, very quickly and proficiently, and has already lit it and is puffing away at it.
Okay, I grab my little pipe that I got, and I just like hold out my hand, and I don't
His eyes
say
light up.
anything. I just hold out my hand and just wait for him to respond.
Stare at him intently.
His eyes light up when he sees the pipe come out of wherever you produce it from, and as he sees your hand start reaching out towards him, you see his eyes just close, and a very slight nod comes over him as he reaches into his tobacco pouch, produces a small amount, and puts it in your hand, and just gives you a slight approving nod and waits for you to pack it and sample his tobacco.
Should we all just pull our pipes out and just be like, hey, dude?
So do I
Fred,
have to make any like constitutions on this? Is this just normal tobacco? Can I investigate it?
It's just normal tobacco. If you want to investigate it, you can.
That wacky tobacco Alcor had in that other campaign.
Okay, I take a few puffs. I do a little pop with my lips. I get it going. I stoke it a bit, and then I lift my pipe up in the air like I'm toasting him, and just go back with my party.
He returns the gesture with another approving nod and just continues puffing on his pipe, going back to his stance of not impatient, but anxious and waiting look on his face.
And I just start smoking. Smoke him if you got him.
Well, Dell, I believe that your contract was put in for a reason. So what, if you could fill us in on the details, what happened here? The details are scarce, but I believe that the original contract dictated that there was some not only equipment disappearing, but also that several farm animals were disappearing as well. There was some various disappearances. Am I correct?
That's true. We've lost about 3 head of swine, 2 sheep, and a horse so far, but thankfully we have a little bit to spare. It started about a month ago, right when I put the request in. my tools were going missing, or I would put them one place and they would be in a different place the next day.
Do you think maybe the same creatures that are stealing your equipment and farm animals are the ones that demolished that bridge on the way in? Or have you not noticed that yet?
Creatures? You thinking it'd be creatures now, son? You some sort of zoologist for this here group?
Well, equipment and farm animals don't just walk off. Farm animals might, but equipment definitely doesn't.
Have you seen anything suspicious?
At this point, his wife kind of steps forward. She puts her arm in front of her husband, like it's something she's done many times to shut him up, and just says, "Little things in the dark sometimes. We hear a little voice, maybe footstep, that is all."
Can I do a perception check to see how hot his wife is? Because she sounds like she's got a real smoking hot voice.
No, she's
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Perception on that.
I could have made her sound like Dr. Girlfriend.
She sounds like it, but I mean, we all know that Dr. Girlfriend's got a smoking hot bud. So,
a big
I kind of look at her. She's about an 8 out of 10.
She might have been pretty once, but she's not so much anymore now. Not that you wouldn't be interested, but just not right at this second. Plus, she's married, so that's kind of a turnoff. But yeah, she's a bit rotund. She's been she's been
around the block.
used to having fat on round for the winter, I guess. I don't know.
She's clearly the most distraught about the swine and the sheep being stolen because of the veal and the bacon not being available on the dinner table. I don't say this obviously, being a very cordial gentleman myself. I focus my attention to her. What sort of shadows in the dark? These large shadows. Please tell me. Can you describe them at all?
She makes motions with her hands, trying to communicate because she speaks. She obviously speaks common very poorly, and she's mimicking with her hands, spreading her thumb and pointer finger apart just by a small amount, and saying "little things," and putting her hand forward to you, emphasizing the motion, and making pantomiming somebody tiptoeing, and they come sometimes around the night. We see a few times, maybe.
Could I maybe do a history check to see what she's vaguely talking about? What kind of monsters I've studied in my noble studies?
With the thumb and forefinger, I know exactly what that is.
Oh, yes, I've
Well,
seen
I'm
those.
thinking kobolds or goblins right now.
What? They're not
You
as
can
big
make a
as a
history
thumb
check.
and a forefinger difference.
She could just be going like they're little, not going like they're literally this little.
What cool?
They're like little
Alright,
fey
that-
creatures. They're like
that's
little
fine.
fairies or something.
Tooth fairies.
Could I,
Oh, boy.
They're borrowers.
Yeah.
Could I
They're borrowers. Those fucking guys.
Well, they take equipment.
Yeah.
could I
You guys are in the world of Roald Dahl.
could I cast comprehend languages to talk to her in her
Ooh.
That's a good idea.
her
I have that too.
native tongue?
If I could, I'd like to make that check too.
You certainly can. Is that a cantrip for you? Okay.
Yeah, so that'd use a spell
both
slot.
Simultaneously, I mean, it's gonna be a spell slot.
Oh, I'll wait.
that you
I'll wait
burn.
till yours.
Like I would say maybe just well again this might be metagaming, so we probably don't want to do that. But you're gonna burn a first level spell slot when you do that.
I have a feeling
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
get those back
do a
until
camp out.
long rest.
Yeah.
Wait till night.
Okay.
Could I do like a perimeter search around the farmstead just to get a good grasp of the lay of the land, do investigation if I have to?
Yep, that will be investigation.
All right.
But yeah, I am gonna cast the comprehend languages.
So as you recite this enchantment to yourself, muttering under your breath, you then approach the woman and begin conversing with her.
Now that it's easier for you to speak, or well,
She doesn't know that.
yeah, I'll just talk to her.
She's like, what?
Yes, because I'm completely aware of what spell you just cast in your first spell slot.
That's a, I can now understand you in your native tongue if it makes it easier for you to describe what you saw.
So at one moment you get two separate types of reaction. One is from her, and the other is from your partner's. Her, she just looks at you, surprised, but then when she hears the words, relieved that she can communicate with somebody other than her husband for once. And from your partner's, just a surprised look as you two see him walk up to this woman and just start speaking this language. You've never heard him speak before. You don't know if he knows any other languages. He just fluently starts speaking to this woman.
I'm nowhere near that.
And to your ears, it just sounds like common. You're able to basically just completely comprehend everything that she says and her to you. So she tells you that they've seen over the past weeks, many times is when the only time that they see it at night is at night. Many times it'll be just vague shapes that they can make out behind the tree line. It's dark and they don't ever see anything actually close enough to get a good look, but they can sometimes hear noises or voices coming from the woods before or after certain times that things might have gone missing, or they've heard certain noises. So just suspicious activity from diminutive figures that kind of match your size.
Goblins are cold.
From her estimate.
So I did give an investigation. Is that a good time to know what I found?
Walking around the perimeter and just looking for tracks, looking for signs of maybe a struggle, of things that may be broken, doors broken in, anything that you can look for signs of trouble. You don't really find what you're looking for. You get distracted by the rather poor quality of the fields themselves and the state that the farm is in. They're not doing great with their crops this season.
All right, I'll head back to the party then.
I would like to ask the Hingelman what he has discovered.
Okay. So, my dudes, what she said was that they've only seen little glimpses of shadowy, diminutive figures, and just heard noises mostly. They're not really couldn't see clear enough to make out what it is.
Does she know, or which direction were they seeing the shadows from?
I will ask you that. Excuse me, ma'am. Again, do you know
The tree line, didn't she say tree line?
Which tree line?
which tree line you saw those shadows come from?
They might be surrounded, kind of.
Like a shelter belt?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of the farms that you've seen coming into this area, it's like what it is sometimes in North Dakota, where it can be just flat plain land, or there can be just weird kind of copse of trees that sort of surround a certain place. And there is tree lines on three sides: the north, the east, and the west. And when she hears you ask this question, she turns behind her and points to the north tree line.
I would like to head to the north tree line and investigate.
I follow.
See if I can find some footsteps or broken branches, some sort of trailblazing signs, or just signs of creatures moving.
I go with Wainwood.
I'll stay
Go ahead.
by the woman in case she needs to communicate anything to us.
So I'll do my investigation roll.
I'm not gonna make one. I already did one.
See what happens.
Going up to the northern tree line, at first it doesn't really look like there's anything out of place. It's not until you get into the tree line itself, and probably 10-15 feet in, you can see clear signs of branches that have been broken, a path that has been tread. People have been traversing in one specific path back and forth. Not a whole lot, but there are signs and enough for it to be worn down that you can tell that there were multiple people going through this one specific area.
They always walk in single file to hide their numbers.
Can I take a closer look at the footsteps to see if I can identify if they're wearing boots or if they have like toes or what have you?
Most of the footprints that you can make out are only partial there because this is a very heavily wooded area. So there are a lot of fallen twigs and branches on the ground and foliage and just stuff that's not the ground where it can make an impression. So you can only find ones that are maybe some toes or a heel, but it seems to be barefoot, maybe the very odd or rare boot print, but they're small footprints nonetheless.
Kind of human-like, or
There are 4 appended, like little toes or claws, whatever they are, on the foot itself. It's long, like a human's foot kind of shape, but a little bit more narrow and skinnier.
okay. Can I determine which direction they're going off of, or is the trail pretty easy to follow?
Well, you can see the 2 directions of the trail. You can see the one that leads closer to the farm and the one that leads away from the farm.
Well, in typical Batman manner, I think I'd like to...
I just start following the ones away.
Oh. Well, I was gonna try to send
You
you,
could follow
back
me.
to inform the other guys.
I
But I
already
wanna-
made that decision, man.
I guess,
So
no, we
the
shouldn't split
half-orc
the party up.
blatantly just starts his... Do you... Okay, hold on. What are the weapons and stuff that you have on you, Tyler?
Just my enchanted dagger and a walking stick.
Okay, so he does start walking down the path using his walking stick to help clear anything in front of him and also for support on his walk through the woods.
After informing the other guys,
Well,
Do you
no,
want
I'm
some-
just
what do you
wondering, like you see Knox visibly like separating company with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you separate company with him or come back for us? I mean,
Well, I came back to let you guys know what I found.
but how long does that take?
Probably not long. It's probably just me coming out and going, "Hey guys,
It
I
only
found the
takes,
trail."
A minute, maybe a minute and a half to get back to you guys.
I guess I didn't know the scale of kind of the farmlands around here.
It's not that far.
Okay, so you guys are well, I guess I see you come striding across back the field. So what have you found?
Found a trail. There's many footprints. Looks like they come towards the farmland and then away from the farmland. And the footprints are rather small, so it matches the lady's description. I think I found the trail of our target.
Exciting.
Might I suggest a two-pronged assault on this situation? And at this time, Wilson, it's still approximately like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
It is.
I might be able to piecemeal together a enticing piece of bait, and at this moment I kind of pull the scrap metal and the pieces of the iron the iron rails that I had purchased. I look at Dell. You don't happen to have a fire hot enough for me to forge something together. I might be able to craft at least face value farm tool that might entice these creatures into taking it. My plan being have our allies wait in the tree line and perhaps track them on their way out once they've stolen this piece of hardware that we've crafted.
No, sir. I hired the Swiftfoots, to take care of it for me so I wouldn't have to deal with anything on my land further than what I've already dealt with.
Well, I can certainly understand your plight, sir, but I mean, if there was a way to acquiesce our request, I mean, we would be able to take care of this for you. Do you perhaps have an area where we could maybe perhaps try and at least set up a forge? Just to ease your mind, sir. I am a smith by nature, and I certainly not take heed to not damage any of your farmland. I simply need an even space and enough time to forge this piece that we require.
Now you listen to me, son. I've got family in the Swiftfoots, and they won't like it if I start complaining about shoddy work. I said no to anything happening on my land. You do what you gotta do, but it's not happening here.
I look at Hingman and I kind of motion towards him to kind of speak with the wife.
I got you.
I got this.
Now, miss, is there any way that we could be able to do this? I mean, if I could persuade you, would you please let us do this? I know you have had a troubling time here, and I know it's I know it's been real stressful on you. We need this so we can do it as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, what do you think? And she looks to her husband, who just vehemently shakes his head. And she looks at you and just shrugs her shoulders.
I look at Wainwright. Well, we'll have to make do with what we can.
Maybe we could use my maul as bait.
You afraid? Are you sure? Want to risk it?
It was a family heirloom, but we do have a job to do. And if we want to do the bait path, the bait plan, it's the closest thing we have to farm equipment.
So what you're saying is you're the bait man.
I am the bait man.
I will also, open my pack and produce the shaping tongs, as well as the metal file. I will add these to the bait, and if luck permits, we'll be able to at least get them to acquire one of them, if not all of it. And the more, perhaps, that they take, the easier it will be for you and Nox to follow them. But we will keep track of Dell and his wife here, at least to make sure that they are safe.
Cool.
But we will follow them if we can.